This is Tom here with another Transformers review, and this time we're going to be looking at Felisaber. And as you know, with all of the other ones that I've been reviewing, this is the oversized KO Felisaber that comes with the KO Pharaoh Rex set. And this figure is great. I love this figure. I love this homage that they decided to continue to add. I didn't think they were going to do something like this because that's kind of like the Pretender, which you guys, he was like Catilla in the cartoon, so that's a super cool thing. And he has like identical articulation and everything to Tigress. It's the same mold. It's just a a different color scheme. But so I'm not going to do another segment to talk about accessories because there's only like 2 accessories. He comes with this gun right here. And the gun is pretty bland. It doesn't even really combine in combine mode because he wasn't initially going to be released as the part of the combiner. But he does come with this mask. And I'm amazed that they included this. I mean, the paint's not super good inside there. It's good enough for a KO. It's not great. The eyes are actually done okay. They're not bad. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can get more into this when he's actually in his, when I put him on him in his beast mode, but just so you guys can see the accessories, up close, that's pretty much to give you an idea what they look like. On the articulation side, this guy's actually pretty good. He's got the same issue that Tigress has with the wrist swivels and then making him suck. I've seen a lot of people doing some great customizations to the wrist swivels, but I don't know if I have that ability, and I also don't have any way to acquire some type of swiveling hands for him. But that's the biggest issue. So the head looks up. He gets a look down. If you don't move this hinge right here, he doesn't look down very much. But if you move this hinge, it actually gives him the ability to look down quite a bit more. It doesn't really screw up the sculpt that bad, so it's definitely okay. The arms will go all the way out to here. They have a swivel up here at the shoulder, and it's a double jointed elbow, similar to how Tigress was. That's for transformation purposes, but it does help for articulation as well. The wrists have no swivel. They do have a little bit of a tilt there in the wrist. Nothing too great. This paw on mine is pretty loose too. That kind of sucks, but that's more of a beast mode type issue. So the waist has the double swivel just like on Tigress's mold too, up at the top and then at the bottom, and that's for placement of the elbow joint in elbow mode, because that's the main purpose of him aside from being just an additional figure. So the legs will go all the way out to there, which is nuts. I mean, that's a high kick if I've ever seen one. They're completely unhindered all the way back, and they'll go forward about that far. So that's really cool. This is that piece that I talked about a few times. I don't like transforming it. It's supposed to be on the side. I hate it. I think it looks stupid. It doesn't sit very well, so yeah. The knees give you a little bit more than 90, which is perfect. You don't really need much more than that. Has a swivel above the knee, which is good. That's fine. I mean, it would be nice if it had a swivel up here at the hip, but it's good enough. And then the feet are on that same style as all the other figures. He has the hinge up here and a ball on a peg that comes all the way down to the foot. So that is it for his articulation. Now we're going to get into transforming him into his beast mode. So Felisaber shares an identical transformation to Tigress. So it's just like Tigress. The way I like to start it is with the hands. As with all the other figures, it's just easier to get that whole portion out of the way. We want to open this flap here. We want to rotate the fist in. Close that back up. Rotate this up. Rotate that. Make sure the claws are all the way up, and that's it. So now for the head, we want to lift up on this entire portion right here, and we got to tilt the head back. And I'm not sure if that can work any better. It can't go the opposite way, so that's just how it's going to be. But we need to get this all the way up, and then lift the head up, and that's it right there. Tilt the foot back, pop this open, and then rotate this around. Then we want to flip the foot all the way around, close this, tab the kneecap into there, tab the foot in. All we have to do now is tab the legs together, and that's it. With the legs, we want to open this tab right here, flip this part of the leg out, flip it out at the foot, close that flap back up, and then flip the leg up, and that's it. So the last thing we have to do is rotate at the waist, and that is Felisaber in his beast mode. So this is Felisaber in beast mode, and or Pharaohcon mode. I may have been saying that weird the entire time. Just wanted to point out real quick, I forgot to mention that you have to flip the tail out when you're transforming to the Pharaohcon mode. But this is the accessory that they include with this set, which actually came with the original MMC Pharaoh Rex when you bought, well, the original Felisaber. So on the KO they decided to include it as well. It's kind of cheaply made. This actually splits really easily. So I mean, it's just a little thing. So if you were going to have him on the side, that would be something you could keep on there. But it just tabs onto the head, kind of like, so you lift up on these two fangs right here, and then you can pull it off. You got to kind of use two hands, otherwise it tends to separate. Oh, it actually did separate. So it's you could glue it together, but I'd actually prefer it to separate rather than gluing it and having it break when you take it off. But it doesn't really have anywhere to store. You can just kind of put it like this when you're not using it if you're not going to use it. It's really no big deal. And then he has a couple ports where you can plug his guns into. Nothing, but there's kind of one right here on the back, but it's hidden by the leg. There's two on here, and then I thought there was one in his arms, but there isn't. So there's two ports to plug his guns into. And I just realized something. I was watching a review, and this port, these things right here, these like nubs that are painted black, are actually on a different side than they are from the MMC one. That's pretty weird. Unless you're supposed to have him like this. I've been transforming him wrong the whole time. So so that's him in beast mode. So as far as the articulation is concerned, you have the head moves like this. The arms have exactly the same articulation as they do in the robot mode, because the wrists don't have any articulation as it is. So that's pretty much it. They all go out about as far. They have the bend right here at the elbow. So that's pretty much it. The legs in the back, though, they're relatively hindered. They don't do too much. They go out about right there. They'll go out about that far. They have a joint here, and they have a joint here. So you get a little bit of movement right there. And then they have a ball joint here on the foot, but it's kind of limited. It doesn't do too much. So, I mean, it's not bad. And then the tail, you can move that up and down, however which way you feel like. So we're going to get this guy into his arm mode. On this side, you take the arm. You want to rotate it down, and you got to use both of these hinges, this one up here and this one right here. And we just want to get this to go like this and tab into this spot right up in there. It's easier said than done sometimes. And then spin that up. And then I like to kind of try and get this to be centered like that, so these spikes are on the top. We want to get this piece lifted up. We want to rotate this foot in. As we're doing that, we want to rotate this part of the leg. And then when we do that, tab this back in. And then these both line up, and he's tabbed back in. So now with this, with the leg being untabbed, we can put the tail back into place. And then we want to grab the fist. And there's two ports in here. You just line that up on that. And on this side, and you just tab it together, and it's a little tight, but it works. If you are worried about the elbow joint, you want to make sure that's in a location that allows it to articulate like that. So that gives you the articulation, and then this guy, he has the his combiner port is actually ratcheted, so that's why I use him as the arm. The dive bomb one is not ratcheted. So for everyone, this entire set, it's not ratcheted. I don't know why they didn't, but that's pretty much it. So that's him in arm mode. And now we're going to do some size comparisons. So for size comparisons, we have him here with MP10 and Apollyon, as I've been doing with the entire set for continuity, just so you guys can see kind of how they scale. But he scales really well. He doesn't really have, you know, that masterpiece feel, but as far as size-wise, he's like dead on. So, I mean, if you look at it, he's about up to the chest of MP10, and he's kind of up to the eyes of Apollyon, because Apollon's a tiny bit shorter if you don't have him like extended in comparison to MP10, which I kind of like anyway. So for beast mode size comparisons, that's pretty much it. He's huge. When you think about this guy being a Mack truck, he's humongous. But he's like a Cybertronian tiger, so it works. There's one other thing I did want to show you guys in beast mode, and I forgot. The mouth actually articulates. And this is like the one spot where the paint actually really shines on this guy. They did a fantastic job with the paint in the mouth. So that's really cool. I just wanted to make sure that I was able to show you that. I think I forgot to show you that on the Tigress one as well. So for final thought to this guy, I mean, he's a really, really good figure. I mean, it's same old as Tigress, so he shares all the goods and all the bads. I mean, we have the issues with the wrist swivel, and you know, I mean, the paint on him is a bit more dodgy than a lot of the other figures. He comes with the cool accessory, you know, that this head. It's not as cool as I wish it would be, only because it doesn't hold together too well, and the paint's not great on there. It's okay. But he's a good figure. He's, you know, in addition, and I probably wouldn't have searched him out if I had the original MMC Feral Rex, but since he comes with this set for no extra, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. He works really well as an arm, and he has a ratcheted joint rather than Dive Bomb having no ratchet there. So that really helps. But yeah, if you guys are interested in getting the set, you can always go over to Surtoys. Surtoys has him. He's had him in stock this whole time. The reason I go with him is because he just ships really well. He packages well. He does it fast, and he's just a really good guy. He responds to emails very quickly as well. But yeah, if you guys like the reviews, you know, please comment on them. Let me know what you want to see, and you know, like the page or subscribe to the page, and like the video, share them, whatever you got to do. But I appreciate it. Thank you for watching.